created some controls for our interface and we connected them to our code using these IB outlets and IB actions. We're going to continue this now to add some more functionality to define this view up the top here. So the first thing we need to do is we've got some IB outlets for these, but we need to create some IB actions for these controls. So again, the same thing that we did before, control and drag. Instead of an outlet, we're going to create an action. And my first item is called red switch action. My second item is action blue switch action. And last of all, green switch action. Okay, you can call these whatever you like, but I've called those names just to keep the naming conventions the same. Inside these, we're going to call a function called update color, which we haven't created yet, so it will give you an error initially. And then we're going to create an algorithm inside this new function that we're going to create, which will update our color. So let's do that now. I'm going to do it directly underneath. Swift is a compiled language, so it doesn't need to run in sequential order. You can put it in your own logical order of where you want it to appear. So I'm going to create a new function called update color. This should now suppress these errors because it knows there is a function that's going to do something. Create some variables. These will be my default colors. So I'm going to create a variable called red, which is of type float. I set this to 0. And I'm going to do the same thing for blue and green. Okay, so these are my default values. Each time that I turn my switch on or off, it's going to run through this method. I'm going to write some simple if statements. If my red switch is on, so this returns a true or false, a Boolean value. Then I want to set red to 255, which means that full amount of red is showing. If my blue switch is on, then blue equals 255. And if my green switch is on, then I'll set green to equal 255. Okay, the last thing that I need to do is to define my color. So we're going to mix all of these colors together to create a new color. So I'm going to set color. So this set color, this main color, is what we created originally, which is sitting here. Set color equals UI color, which is the type of color which appears for the interface. Okay, I'm just going to make this a little bit bigger. So let's click on here, just so you can see what I'm typing. So red will be set to red, green will be set to green. So this is accepting RGB values. Blue is set to blue. And my transparency is going to be set to 100%. I don't want to have any transparency. After I've done this, like we did before, I can set my color view, background color, to equal my set color. So now we have a little algorithm that we've created through that sequence set of instructions. When I run my application, by default is set to red. If I click one of these, which is set to off by default, so this is my green tab, my blue tab, my red tab. If I have red and green or red and blue, we'll start to manipulate the color. And this is the end of the third tutorial.